right, welcome everybody. Happy Monday here in beautiful Southwest Florida. As you'll see behind us, we've got the window of the storm rolling in. But thanks for joining us. So today we're going to talk about some tools that you have access to, and we're going to kind of walk through this as a licensee and realtor with access to these tools, and kind of how to farm the area and then market properties, and kind of give you put the pieces together on how people are using this in the marketplace out there in the field. So with that, we are going to first go to Remine and give you a little background as we share our screen here. Remine is a conglomerate of different data points that are purchased from different segments of the business. So they're purchasing tax data, they're purchasing mortgage data, they're purchasing some analytical data, they're using artificial intelligence to kind of pull all this data into one spot for property information. And then they couple that with live listing data from our MLS. So you'll see you've got withdrawn, active, and pending sales there on the right for listing updates. So this is where they get the data from. So as a practitioner, there's a lot of ways to get business. And we're going to talk about two of those ways. One is by farming an area, and farming is simply just going through the process of sending out calls to action through mail, through media, to a particular geographic area. So when I was a practitioner, I used the area I lived in, which was a large development with about 2,600 doors up in North Fort Myers. That's called Moody River. So that's where I was, that's where I lived, and I wanted to practice and get listings from there. So I would farm that area, 2,600 doors. So we're going to talk about how to take that 2,600 doors kind of down to a smaller group, to be able to market to that group of people and be able to pick up what's most likely to sell. So when you start out with Remine, you can use the map view here under the search, and you can determine your area. So let's start out. Let's do
the yacht club.
We could do the yacht club. So we'll do the lower part of the southeast area of Cape Coral, which is the yacht club area there. And you'll pull up the actual properties. That's how many doors are currently in there. So on the right-hand side, you'll actually see there's 4,424 doors in that area. And obviously, if you were going to mail a postcard every month or every other month at about $1.50 a postcard, it'd be very, very expensive to mail those postcards to that area. But in our mind, I don't think you need to actually mail everybody. You want to mail the people most likely to sell. Okay, so based on what you're trying to do, you can go down to property value. On the left-hand side is the first one that you got. Now we're going to choose a property value, but you could, if you wanted to deal in the million plus only, and that was what you're going to farm because you're a luxury, you can click that box, hit apply, and you'll see that it'll go from 4,200 or 424 down to whatever number. So you can do it by property value. It's one of the filters. Home equity. So again, people sometimes will sell when they're 2008 and 9, but for the most part, people sell when they have equity in their home. So you can do it by equity amount or equity percentage. So if they've got money that they're going to walk away with, and it's, they have money to go purchase something else with, that may be something you want to go ahead and utilize. Home ownership time, according to the National Association of Realtors, people sell their house every 5 to 7 years. I think that in Fort Myers and Cape Coral in Southwest Florida, it could be any time. I had a class that we spoke to 2 Mondays ago, or last week Monday actually, that I spoke to in Cape Coral. We had a group of people in the association that we talked about it, and there's a lady that sold the house in May, and she's relisting that house right now. They're just not happy down in Fort Myers. They're not happy, and they want to move someplace else. So I don't know if that's a good idea to do, but if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do, right? So you got some kind of filter on the guy, 2262.
Yeah, I filtered the
5 to 10. Okay.
Yep.
So you did 5 to 10. Okay, so we're down to 2262. All right, and then the next one is Sell Score. This is probably the coolest thing out there because there are things that people do. And what I used to do when I did Moody Rivers, I wouldn't do anything but Sell Score when I filter, because there's things that people do like refinances and home equity cash outs and things like that, that when they do those things, they're not necessarily looking to move necessarily, they're looking to do a remodel, right? Most people do a cash out refi. It's like 81% of the people doing cash out refi are using it to make a purchase that will keep them in their house for at least 3 more years. So that's a statistic, and knowing that statistic, I would look at, what do I want to look at from a home sale, score. So they pull up this information. It's an algorithm that they own, and a lot of people say, well, how do they realize what that is? I don't know, but you definitely want to start with high. So let's hit the high and hit apply. We're down to 2262. We're down to 97 houses that are 5 to 10 years that have a high sell score rate, which is their algorithm they use. Now, when I did this myself, when I was practicing, and this was back in 2020, 2019, all I used was sell score high. And I would mail them every single month. I took 2,600 doors down to about 130 doors that were high. And out of that, I was able to turn over the course of doing it for 2 years, about 24, 25 listings. So it's about a listing a month is what you should expect by mailing them. Again, it matters what the call to action is. It matters about your testimonials you have online. It matters, a lot of different things. Just can't send them a piece of mail that doesn't get the response that you'd hope they, that there's no call to action, that they're not contacting you directly or getting, pushed over to a website funnel where you can get them into a different area into your funnel, but those matter. So just by doing the home ownership and the sell results, what I will tell you is, let's go back in there to home ownership time and delete that filter. You just go click X, yep. And let's add in a sell score, a medium. So now we're down to 121 results, right? And you have medium and you're up to 230 results. So again, it does depend on one thing, and that's your budget, right? My budget was about $300 every 2 months is what I was spending on that particular farm. But again, if you're getting a listing a month out of it, and by the way, what I'll tell you about farming as a segue, that has nothing to do with technology, is they call it farming for a reason. You're planting seeds with people, and it takes a while for those seeds to sprout. A lot of people will farm month 1, month 2, month 3 and give up. What you need to do is understand you need a budget and allocate what your budget is for the entire 12 months of time. So if I'm at 230, $1.50 a piece, I'm looking at about approximately $400 a mailing. If I'm doing every other month, that's 6 mailings, I need a budget $2,800, because sometimes it doesn't take. When I did this in Moody, it wasn't until my 7th mailing I did, and I did 9 mailings for the year. I think it was my first year, and 6 the second. My 7th is when I got my first deal. So it's a lot of people like to pull out too early and say, oh, this isn't working. It is farming.
It's
right?
very residual.
It's very residual. And farming is long-term, right? So you think about farming. I grew up in Wisconsin, so I had relatives that had, corn farms, and every year they planted the same, and they were always having a crop because you own that land. So you will grow that. And over the years I did this, and I moved out of Moody in 21, and I still was getting business out of it in 23. So I was able to scale back as well and be able to, still retain some business out of it. So it's a slower burn, but it's a good burn, because once they see your name and recognition and a strong call to action, you'll see that. All right, so that's sales score on that. Let's go to absentee. So I love this. This is corporate owned, okay, which means it could be a Chico's, it could be a bank, it could be any kind of corporation, owner occupant, or maybe you're looking for somebody that is absentee out of state. This is great for property managers. I saw a lot of property managers. In fact, I know one that took their business from zero doors to 100, just marketing to absentee out of state owners. These people are getting bothered for clogged toilets and maintenance issues. They're getting bothered for all kinds of stuff. They're not physically here. They don't have a handyman on speed dial.
They got to put up shutters for a
They got to put up
hurricane.
shutters for a hurricane. So they have all kinds of stuff that they're doing. So this is a great one for property management on sell score. Also absentee state, out of state, maybe they don't use it as much as they had before, right? So using that again is a great place. Now, mentality wise, absentee in-state, what I love about that is sometimes you'll find they moved to Southwest Florida, wherever that may have been, and they had a job transfer or another move, and they're still in Florida, but now they're in West Palm, or they're in Jacksonville, or they moved to Orlando for a job. So absentee in-state sometimes will tell you, and you'll be able to look at the properties in more in depth, that they moved there and had to move someplace else. Okay. So you can use that for absentee. Flood risk, again, I wouldn't use this for farming, but again, this is great for when you're looking to, look at properties in general. People say, well, I don't want to be in a flood zone. I want to be in this flood zone, etc. This is a great way for that. So you can show the file boundaries, etc. On that. It's a great little piece of information that you get all in this. I'll be one of you get the same exact thing, right? Building type, I like this because in Moody we had condos, we had multifamily, we had townhouses, we had multi-use, right? So I only wanted single family homes because for me, part of the growing a business was having a sign in the front of the yard. And you can't do that sometimes in multifamily. So I would do only single family. So let's click on single family only, hit apply, and we'll see our 230 go down to 124. So now you're not doing condos, you're doing single family homes. We have a sign in the ground. So now your deal is lower there. You got land use as one of these two. So you got residential, utility, farm, public. So you got land use as one of your filters. Mortgage rate percentage, again, look at interest rates there's understanding that if somebody has a higher interest rate, that is what the current interest rate is, right? So 6.5% plus versus what you can get a mortgage for today. And then sometimes if they've got a 1.5% to 3%, you may want to filter those out because they may not be as motivated to move because if they have to borrow money, the money today is more expensive than what they currently have. Okay.
If you're looking at your marketing budget, and you want to be able to save some dollars. The lenders really love this information that you can share with them. And you can also split costs and do a postcard that would say like refi or sell. So go ahead and with your favorite lender and co-market that and split the costs as well.
Yeah. All right. Number of loans. Again, some people over leverage their real property. So that's on there as well. Loan types. This is great too. So obviously everybody knows that VA is a transferable mortgage in most cases to another veteran. You may have the military, it's got its NPR designation. That's what you deal with. So I had somebody that I used to work with that's what they did. They were a veteran, they were Navy, and she would do this and do the VA only, and she would just mail the VA saying, your loan is transferable. Did you know that? And then bring another VA to take that house. So that's kind of a cool deal there too. Original loan amount. So again, gives you that information. This is last sale price. So again, equity matters. So it's kind of one of those things that, people want to filter by. And then distress sales. This is part I love. So notice of trustee sales, notice of foreclosure sales, notice of default, list pendants. You may have some of these out there that have a list pendants filed, but they're not in the market yet. So when I got into real estate in 2005, I started doing a lot of short sale foreclosures, and so a tool like this back then would have been a godsend in order to be able to narrow down who's not paying their mortgage. We got lists from the bank on what they would call a 30-day late report, and that's who we would call and contact. Okay, and then you've got cash buyers. Again, that's a great one.
And just clicking this turns it on or off. It's not going to open a box for you. So if it's highlighted in blue, you're just looking at cash buyers.
Yep.
And then CLS will connect into our Moody's Analytics product. So that is through your Southwest Florida Commercial Alliance. If you're part of Moody's, you click subscribe, you log in, it will pull in the mapping and filter options through Moody's, which we're not going to get into today. But if you do have that additional product, it has a great integration here with Streamline because they have a lot of the same mapping features. I believe that's all.
All right, that's everything. So on the left-hand side, you're going to have your actual list of stuff. There's a lot of sales canceled, 127 days of market. What that tells me is that we're using the sales score of high. These people had their house listed.
Yeah,
And then you're looking at some that's sold,
it's
right?
gonna
Yeah,
give you the last status that there ever was.
right.
So this could be recently, but it also could have been years ago.
Could have been years ago, correct. So that's your list there. Now you can sort by if they're currently on the market, and that's what you want to stay away from.
Yeah, and those filters are gonna be up here. There's a lot of filters that you can lay in over here, and then you also can go into the advanced version, and it will open up every single field that you have available in the MLS. You can put in square footage, you can put in all of those things.
Right.
But do we want to keep these for now and add them into a cart so we can show
Yeah,
them
let's
how to-
let them into a cart and
Okay.
then we can go ahead.
So you want to make sure that you select all if this is the list that you're happy with and you're ready to move forward. Once you have that, you're going to click cart. And then you're going to create a cart. So we'll call this the Yacht Club. And if you already have carts available, you're going to see them show up. If you don't have one, you're creating a new one, this option will show up for you. So you go ahead and click that and say add 124 properties to cart. And you now have all of these properties saved. You can see here on the left-hand side, we have carts.
Yeah.
So to utilize this farm that we've walked through, you can see these are the other lists that we've gone through with classes. It may take a minute for it to load because there is a good amount of properties. It will continue to update. So if you wanted to keep an eye on this market, it truly is your farm. At any point, you can come out here, check the statuses and the changes. But anything that you have in any of your cards is what is going to show up on that daily dashboard when we first logged in and it was giving us the property notifications here. This is any activity that has happened within your cart so that you can keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
So from here, again, we're going to select all. If you wanted to export these and do a mailer, you've got two different options. Jason's going to walk us through different tools that are going to provide you different materials. So you could just export this list, choose the type of export and what columns you want to export, and it will give you an Excel sheet so that you can easily make labels, do what you need to do with that. But they also have a mailer program with postcards that they link into. So if you click this option, it's going to ask you to mail your campaign, and it's going to take you to a third-party site that provides different postcards. So clicking through to this, it'll load it right into that third-party site. So you don't have to worry about licking and sticking and putting all of the labels on your postcards. It'll do that for you. It'll print it. It'll send it right out and take care of it. They've got really great pricing. They've got several different sizes and all kinds of different templates. So I encourage you to go out there and shop around, see if you like it and use it. But if you have different ideas or different things that you want to do, maybe you use this only for a couple months of your campaign, and maybe you export the list and do some different letters or different mailers through these different programs that we show you.
Yep, and I would just take off anything that's active on that cart. I
Mhm.
would delete that. I wouldn't send it. I
Right.
wouldn't solicit an active listing. So you can actually go by status and sort it by status.
Yeah, I will tell you that, like, if you filter it out ahead of time, it'll take it out forever. I like to keep it on here because if it becomes not active, I want it to be added into the mix, you know,
Right.
3 months from now. But in the meantime, each time you do a mailer, you can go ahead and take those ones out to
Yeah,
Jason's
And
point.
it may change. You may have one that's expired.
Yeah.
That, is now on the market. But what I'll tell you is that this is a really good farm tool for you to actually be able to, farm your area and farm your neighborhood. So, it's great on that.
Yeah. And in here, the question that we get a lot in the MLS is it'll allow you to export all of this address data. You can also change out the columns. What it will not allow you to do is, I'm going to pull you guys into a property here. I believe this one has it. So some of the properties, you can click into them and find more information for a deeper dive. We'll scroll down here to the bottom. This is the entire property information. There's a lot of data out there for you to find, but at the bottom, you will see some of them have these contact cards for the owners, and it'll give you their phone numbers and emails. This part, you do have to go out there and pull the data yourself because the CAN-SPAM Act, you can't export like a neighborhood's worth of email addresses. But, if you're sitting in the middle of the hurricane and you find yourself bored with electricity, go ahead and pull your farm market, come out here, grab the email addresses and add them on to whatever spreadsheet you've already exported. You can add them in there to your Excel spreadsheet. That information is available to you so that you can both do the mailers that we've talked about and go ahead and start an email campaign as well. And it'll let you know who's on the do not call list ahead of time.
Yeah, and I would just say one more thing on that. I used to take and put them into my CRM
Mhm.
So I can take the notes on what I've done, and then you'll see that one, it wasn't on the do not call list, so you can call,
This.
call Kimball on those two numbers.
Mhm. Absolutely, yeah, so these ones you can call in, you can add them to your CRM. But what if you don't have a CRM? Do we have a tool for that?
We do have a tool for that, we'll show you that, yeah. So, so that's how you get a list, and you can get, again, some people get very, we used to do calling on expired, you can pull expired report on this. Do the same thing, just call the expireds if they're not doing a call, or mail them. So it's just not for just farming.
Mhm.
A lot of people are using other tools out there that will pull expired, but you could pull just expired in that area. And then take out just, obviously they're expired today, they may not expire whenever, but you bounce this number up against your history. And if you, let's pull up one of the cards up there, let's pull up that top property. And let's look at the actual card. So when you hit on that, you'll actually see the actual house itself. That was there. It'll tell you what cart it's in. It'll give you the description. This is all of the MLS itself. Tell you the listing agent. It'll tell you all the information you need to do, including the MLS number. So you can actually take the MLS number, pull it into MLS, and look at the history, and see if it's a recent expiration, or if it's something that's, what's going on there. I mean, this indicates it's got 100% equity, which means they probably paid cash for it. Or they, looks like it may have gotten it as a title switch over, it was purchased for cash. So they had it listed, it's probably not listed that long because they bought it 5.5 years ago. So it may be a good expirer to call. If it's an absentee owner, right? So if somebody's got property down here, they may not be able to get insurance for it. They may not be able to, come down here as often as they were before. A lot of reasons for it. So if you go all the way to the bottom, you got your property card. See if they have numbers, and you can make the phone calls and hospital list. There's your property history right there.
Yeah,
So
it pulls everything in from
it
the
pulls right in,
MLS, but it also connects it in with the property public data that might not be in the MLS.
Right. There's your valuation. You got 4 valuation tools that are doing it there. You got the Zestimate rental. You've also got Remine and the First American, which is, they're buying that information. Demographics, and then the owner associated people with it on the property cards. They have no information on that. And it's in a trust.
Because of the trust.
So that's the reason for that. But if it wasn't, it'd be great again to do expires. I did a lot of expired. I make hundreds of calls a week on expired listings and get listing appointments all week. So it's another great tool for that. Anything else you want to add?
Yeah, based on what you're trying to do, if you're going more towards the expireds instead of just trying to farm a specific neighborhood, that's what your difference is here between saved searches and carts. So saved searches, every time you go in there, it's going to run that criteria and it's going to pull in what fits. If you add something to a cart, it's going to stick with those specific addresses that you pulled in that day. So if you pulled in like 6 properties, we're use small numbers, and added it to carts, those 6 properties are always going to be in that cart.
Correct.
But if you do a saved search, the properties are going to flow in and out of what you see based on whether it does fit or does not no longer fit your criteria.
Can we do a saved search for, like, say,
Yeah, so if we do this new field that we have here, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to do a saved search up here, and we'll call this Yacht Club as well.
He's about the other one.
That's it. All right, and you can also set it up to have it send you an email when things change as well. So we'll click Save Search. And now in here, same as carts, you've got this button over here. And it's showing us these different saved searches that we have. And you can set up customers on these saved searches as well, so that they can, you have buyers or anything like that, or even if you have sellers that are in that market, keeping an eye on things, you can add them in here. They will get updates as things change. You can get updates as things change, and utilize this more. So carts is going to be for exporting data and farming. Your saved searches is going to allow those properties to flow in and out as it fits that criteria.
Right, so you can do a saved search. You can just look up just expireds in a certain area.
Mhm.
And that's all you would need. You wouldn't need anything else extra. You don't care how it had expired.
Mhm.
And then you can scrub that list and then again get email updates every day, and that's how you'd run that process. I would still check MLS and make sure it wasn't updated, just didn't match up yet. As far as the servers and stuff like that, it could, you know, if it goes expired yesterday, it was relisted today with somebody else. And then also MLS is good for a lot of, you know, deep history too as well.
Yeah.
On it. So, all right, so there's the Remind button that you got. There's a lot of stuff on here. We do a lot of Remind classes. It was one of my favorite tools as a practitioner when we rolled out the basic back in 2017 or 18. I upgraded right away. At the time, it was $200. Now it's $250 a month, I believe, for the upgrade. But as a member of our MLS, we pay that for you. So everybody's got the upgraded version of this out there, which some cases people say, well, you level the playing field, but the reality is not everybody's using it, right? So, but I used it every single day in my business. It was one of my favorite things. Was Remind. All right, so next we've got Agent 3000. This is a great tool. We met with the founder of the company last week, Friday. Was in the office here. We had a great conversation with him. Sean runs a good organization, great programmer, brilliant mind, and his background's real estate. So what I like about that is he looks at this as a practitioner, not just as a propeller head technology guy. So he has some things there I think that are kind of cool. So so you farm your area, you're doing expires and Remind, you're getting some appointments. Let's talk about some of the tools that you've got that you can do for it, or how you can continuously build your brand, right? So if I'm doing expires, I'm doing farming. I also want to know in that area and be able to provide value, and maybe I want to pull information to send. So one of the things that you have built in here is analytics, right? So you got infographics, which are up here. We got market snapshot videos. There's all kinds of things. So if I'm doing Moody River, or this case, we looked at the yacht club area, or the yacht club area as you
Misspoke twice.
So we're gonna pull up, let's pull up our zip code from that.
What is the zip code there?
That's a
Is
great
this
question.
in the cart?
Yeah, this is.
No, that's
this is
not in the cart.
That is not in the cart.
Go to our cart. Yacht club.
Is it 33903?
I feel like they really should know that.
Uh,
33904.
33904, I was close, I was one off. So we're gonna do 33904, because you want, again, if you're gonna be the expert of that area of farming, you should know everything going on in that market. And I think to Joanna's point of having this update and having those properties you originally pulled, go through and change statuses and get updates and know what's going on in there, you should know that stuff. So that's our zip code. Single family homes, because we remember we didn't do condos. And then you got all these different scenarios. So let's go at top 12. Let's go the number of units listed versus sold last 12 months.
Okay.
This is an inventory balancing thing, right? So if I had 300 listings that listed and only 100 sold, you're gonna be on market longer.
Do you want to do a line graph or a bar graph? I
Let's
feel like
do
the
it.
line graph will show
Let's
us.
do the
where
line graph
intersect-
then.
yeah. And you can select a background.
Which I
And-
love because it makes it unboring.
Yeah. Do you want to put one back there? Or are we gonna leave it for now?
Let's
And
put,
do the
yeah, let's do the
trees?
trees. Let's do that background.
Okay.
And then you can change it, you know, how bright or how light it is. You want
Yeah.
to probably do the left. There you go.
Yeah.
Do 20. Add my profile photo, brand it to you, your logo, QR code. And then your footer background with white, that's fine. So this will create an image, I mean, because that's a couple seconds. And again, so when people buy, what people don't realize, like, you know, I was looking at buying a vehicle a couple months ago, I think I told you. I started looking online at stuff, right? And all of a sudden the cookies pick you up. But people are gonna check on stuff. They're gonna look you up if they're getting your mailings. And so you wanna have material out there. This would be great to post on social media. It'd be also be great to put as part of your actual mailer to that community, right? Because it flows right into what you're doing. So it shows on here the listed by month and the amount sold. So right now in September of 24, you got more houses being listed than the solds are going down. Okay, so you know you can kind of create your conversation around what's happening in the marketplace, but this is a great particular thing to give and promote and to send in your mailer, right? As far as a postcard.
Absolutely. I know a lot of realtors that have had successful farm markets. They've done every other month. They've used either the
Mm.
postcards inside of Remind, and then they'll do like a bi-monthly newsletter and add in a lot of these things, because then you can use multiple features that you have out here in Agent 3000. They've got a lot of like buyer tips, seller tips, different things like that. They've put in the graphs, and that way that there is like a multifaceted piece. You're not just focusing on one piece of information. You can use a lot of these and plug it into a newsletter.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you put that, download it as an image, put it right into your Word doc, make it a PDF work, newsletter and send it out. And then the other thing I would tell you, what I like is I've always used things multiple times. So if I was doing a farm newsletter to, let's say, Moody River, and that was the development or that was the zip code, I would send that same market stats, because you're gonna start with the global Lee County marketplace, then you're going down to, basically that zip code. And then I was going down to Moody River, so I'd have 3 different graphics kind of showing the same things. But I did that on purpose so I could make more copies of it and send it out to my entire database. So they were getting something else too. They were getting the Lee County, and then the zip code may not apply to them Moody River, but the zip code did, because that's where I was farming.
Right.
So
We've had lots of Agent 3000 classes so that we go through every single one of these tabs. We could spend a whole day talking about how many tools are inside of Agent 3000, but really quick, they've got flyers out here. So if you are farming a market specifically to get your listing out there, you can use these flyers here. There are also lots of tools. There's sign writers that give you text codes, but you can take that text code and plug it into any kind of postcard or any newsletter you're doing, and QR codes. And these are all trackable things where you can produce leads with them. There's just a lot of stuff out here that you can plug into any marketing piece that you're using and try to do more lead capture so that you can make that relationship with the people in the neighborhood.
let's look at that QR code tool. So again, this could tie back to specifically either a V card, a URL, or a text, right?
Or a listing.
Or a listing. So you can use it for any of those things. So it's a powerful tool, because if you're going to do this on your own and buy something, this is going to cost you some money, because it's got all 3 things. I like the V card. So you can put contact me, scan this for my information, and you put your information in here with your, for your organization, and then you get QR code and put that part of your postcard or part of your newsletter.
Yeah, this is going to plug you right into their contacts, but he also has up here is the Realty business card. If you design that, there's a QR code in there as well.
Correct.
So you can take that 2 different routes depending on what you want to do with it.
Yeah, let's go there too now, since you brought it up. Because you can literally spend a day, we can spend a whole day online, you're going through this, so.
Absolutely.
This Realty business card, you can go buy one, there's tons of vendors out there, I had them. But rarely do you have it where it actually has embedded a searchability factor, the IDX feed. So when you give somebody, and you never know, everybody, as a broker, I used to tell my agents, never leave home without a business card, or several. But we always lose them, or we give them all out, or whatever the case may be. You will be asked at some point, if you have not been, that, so for a business card, you'll have a conversation with somebody. I remember my favorite story is, I was at a ball game, the Boston Red Sox spring training. I was in a suite, a friend of mine had a suite there. I was talking to a young lady that was gonna buy a condo, and her dad wanted to buy a condo, and then their uncle bought a condo, and I had no business cards because I was at a baseball game, drinking beer and having a good time. And so I did have a electronic business card, not this particular one, but that's what I sent her, and she sent it to her mom and her dad, and then she sent it to her uncle, and within 2 months, I had 4 transactions in Gateway from that group. And if I didn't have a business card at all, she would have lost my number or whatever. So let's go through, that's what it kind of looks like.
Yeah, this is an example of one of them. They've got several templates here that you can choose. And by clicking it, then you can preview exactly what that's going to look like.
Yeah, so you can pick one that you like. This has her name on it for Joanna Rowell's, got your URL on it. So that's something you can put into a signature line that you're sending out to somebody. They can download it, exactly right. And then your subtitle for realtor, broker, real estate professional, GRI. So she got real estate professional template you can choose. You can do a profile picture update. You can select an image. So there's different images out there that are included based on what you want the background to look like.
But you can also upload your own down here at the bottom for more branding.
Yeah, if you had something that you're using on, and I'm always big on branding, like your YouTube channel should match your Facebook and your LinkedIn and all that kind of stuff. So if you got something for that, you could do it. A lot of people are using Canva to create their brand, so to speak. So you can, if you've got something from that, I like this because you can embed your Zillow reviews, your Google reviews, if you're using Yelp. If you got a YouTube channel, which you should, you can embed that. You can override the home finder icon and with your own IDX search from your website. You got an area, put the about me, which is your bio. Shorter is better when it comes to online, but again, it should flow. You could do a new links. You can have several links there. How many did they let you put up there?
There is a few. I haven't hit max before. I think I've had like 5 up here.
Yeah, so you
We
can put,
ask Sean. You don't want to make it too busy. It's already got a lot of buttons on there to take them out to the IDX feed and your contact
does.
information. So I would, and it's got the YouTube on there. So if you make it too busy, it's a little much, but
Yeah.
your important stuff can be out there.
Then you save your business card and then you can click here to download digital business card. So if you click on that, you'll see that come up. That's what it looks like. So you got my site. So you have all those different ones in there. It's kind of like, what's that link?
Linktree.
Linktree. It's not like
Linktree on your
Linktree,
Instagram.
right?
Yeah.
But this is kind of cool because again, you can use this URL on different websites to drive them back to it.
And they've got the quick buttons here at the bottom. So somebody can text you right from here. They can write you a review. They can read your about, and then that home finder button is what's going to bring them out to search.
Can you hit it? So yeah, it comes out to a very simple IDX search. They can do a street, they can do whatever, and then hit go. It's made to be on a mobile device, so it may pull up houses in Miami if our IP is
Yeah,
over there.
as I say, we're also streaming at the same time, so I think it's going to struggle with that. But it does give them a simple search so they can go out and look at stuff in particular,
Yeah.
or addresses, maybe their own address.
Yeah, and you're not gonna find that in other stuff. And then the cool thing is save contact a phone button, they can save your information right to their cell phone. So that's a cool feature too. Pretty much anything you'd want on this. Scan QR code. So this will come up. This is that QR code. It's got the realtor on it. This is what I'd be putting on every single one of those. Postcards, newsletters. This, you're right, this is what you want to send them because it's that powerful. Electronic business cards for real estate agents, not been around for a long time because we do have to have the IDX to make it real valuable. But having one of those on your phone and you could save it on your phone. You get that picture as one of your favorites on your phone, have somebody scan it if you're meeting them. So you have to send it to them because some people have a problem with giving their number out. I've had that happen.
Absolutely. If you click this button, it'll email it right over to you. You can see I'll probably have several emails here now, but it'll open it up in your email and then you can use that and forward it out if you needed to as well.
Yeah.
But you do have the QR code and you do have your personal link up here to be able to get it out to your customers. Any QR code scans, reviews, messages, anything that happens through that Realty Biz card is going to be logged here on the side. But it will also email you so that it doesn't get lost. You'll get a notification and then it'll keep all of that information out here.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, if you go back to Realty Biz card setup, every one of Sean's pages here that you got on any one of these have got these little videos on top.
Absolutely.
So if I know people are probably taking notes and wondering, where do I start? These videos are great, walks you step by step on how to set any of this stuff up on any one of these pages. But again, when we talk about tools that you can use, this is powerful. People like to be able to search properties, right? That's why they spend so much time online, looking at the pictures, having your basically search on your phone and your business card is important.
Yeah.
And then driving traffic from there, if you're doing mailings, if you're doing the farming aspect of it, driving them back to one place, because here's a cool part. The hardest thing about mailings and farming is how do I measure success? So if they're going ahead and they're scanning that QR code and they're saving information, again, you may not get that phone call in the first 6-7 months. It took me 7 months at the first call. And I didn't have any of these tools, by the way. So I would have added this on there.
Especially the QR code, just to see how many people are
How people are
looking,
scanning it, right?
Scanning it.
Right. Yeah. And
Makes you feel a little bit better.
well, at least because a lot of people do sort their mail by the trash can, but
Yeah.
some people that have in their mind that they may be selling in the next 6 months may pull that one card
Mhm.
I know when I was living in Moody, I know my AC was going, the AC guy out there. He never came out in 7 years, and all of a sudden I had him out there 7 times in 1 year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this thing's gonna die. And he was only a repair guy. He didn't do installations. And I was like, I gotta start looking. I remember I would throw all my mail away except for the AC companies advertising
Mhm.
systems to be installed, right? People know what their needs are.
Yeah.
And I would pull those postcards, and when the system did die finally, that's what I did. I had those postcards on my refrigerator, and called them. So people will sort the mail at the garbage, but I think they'll keep the stuff that they're thinking of. You don't know what's in their mind. I mean, they may know that they're gonna take a job transfer or start applying someplace else. They may be going through a divorce, or they may need to move back to someplace to take care of a loved one. So they already know that. You don't know that, right?
Absolutely.
So, all right. So what's next on this? So we kind of showed you let me show you the landing pages too. Let's go to landing pages. I love this part of it. Those are just the leads. I think you get all.
Oh, these ones down
Yeah.
here. Okay.
Yeah. So I love this part of it. This, you can name this anything you want.
Mhm. Set it up for a specific neighborhood, have it search that neighborhood and put it on that postcard for wherever it is that you're farming. And if you have multiple farms, you can set up multiple landing pages so that it looks very specific to the marketing that you're doing in that neighborhood. You can see here, we've done ones before for golf access property, gateway properties. We'll go ahead and open up one of them so you can see what it looks like. So we set it up for that area and it asks them to fill out information, but you can customize these buttons. And a lot of times people use these for Facebook ads, but I've seen them plugged in on the postcards as well. Maybe it says, get the valuation of your home today. They go out
Right.
here and they can fill these in.
Yeah, the cool thing about this is, you can customize this. Again, there's videos on the top.
Mhm.
You're gonna name your landing page, you get your contact information. You can do an image in the background, colors to match your colors. You can put your call to action, send me a free list now for your call button. It could be get my home valuation now for a listing, right? If you're doing the listing farming. And then an email address you get your lead sent to. And then you can require things, include with Facebook, you can include just a phone number, email, whatever you want to make them opt in or to get access to. And then again, you got the text response. Thank you for your request. Be in touch. So, and I would not do any of the canned stuff. I found that the text response to them, if they have to put their phone number in, the more personal it is, the better. Hey, it's Jason with ABC Realty. I got your information. I'm in a meeting. I'm with a client, whatever. You're not gonna be, but sometimes you're with your family, or sometimes at the grocery store and you're, in line. Not
I was
best
gonna say,
optimal time.
until they're typing it in at 2 a.m.
Right. But make it personal to you.
You can also redirect it to a website if you wanted to do that instead.
Yeah, you can do that as well. But again, I think making it personal is Jason with ABC Realty. Thanks for, we'll be in touch shortly, whatever. I'll be in touch with you the next 12 hours, whatever it may be that you have. I think that's important. And then down here, I think the coolest part is when you understand Facebook pixels and Google Analytics, if you're really pushing this stuff, if they do sign up with Facebook or they go to Facebook and you got your pixel in there, anytime they pull up properties, the stuff will kind of follow them and you'll be able to track the success of it. So, and then you got embedded codes as well on there. So, kind of a cool thing. I like this because this is how you drive leads. So again, I would say, you could have based on, for more information on home valuation, scan this other QR code or go to this website, right? And get information. It could be one of these landing pages, I think, that are really kind of cool.
Absolutely. You've got multiple ways to direct them where you need them.
Yeah, and that's what you got to kind of figure out is, when you're doing this, I'm getting people's attention through the mailing or the phone call. And then I'm directing them in my funnel to go to this place, or that place. So, but there's tons of tools on here. We do a lot of MLS Mondays on this. We're gonna start doing some live courses on this as well and how to use it and some good examples. So keep tuned for that. And again, watch those videos. A lot of information, a lot of stuff here. So.
All right, our next tool, if you're looking for more material to add into your mailers, your emails, social media, or anything like that, would be Donna's Analytics.
Yeah, and let's start with the market infographic. This is the most basic thing that we have here. It's easy to download. Again, you can do single residence. You do 25 cities. So again, you may not want all of them. It may not be relevant, right? Cape Coral will be relevant in the ones that we're looking at. This will give them the citywide. So this is something too, if you're putting on a postcard as a general mailer, as a farmer, you can also send this to your entire database of anybody that's been a past client, right? On it as well. So you can take this, you can save it. But it's a very clean infographic. Market review gives you a lot more details. And again, you've got the ability to change single family, change it to just the city that you want. So it's not everything, and that changes the pricing and things. And then the cool thing about this is in person, if you're doing a buyer consultation to get your required buyer broker agreement signed, you can go over this like Joanna is and show them the different, peaks and valleys of whether it's median days on market, if it's list price versus sale price, sold price per square foot, etc. You can look at that stuff. So they're live and interactive. And then the weekly trends, I like this one because a lot of the times trends are a month behind, sometimes 6 weeks behind. So this is live. They get our live data, which I love about this. And then you can go on median home pricing. You can put in sold dollar volume, pretty much anything you want. And then you can do by county or by city or by area. So it gives you then the geocode. So again, the geocode for that would be like CC44 of where we were farming in Southwest Cape Coral. You could do just that and include that with your listing presentation, or I don't know if that's right or not, but I'm guessing.
Look at it.
So that's just that one thing, right? So real estate's hyper local. Looking at a city, it is the city, but every area is different, right? So that's kind of what that is for that price point. All right, market update here. This is a little bit more comprehensive of a tool. Again, all the same filterings there. You can show, let's do the first one there, time series line. You have the ability to do price distribution, zip code, geo, all different kinds of stuff. So it's got a lot of different ways to make somebody look at the data on how you want to look at it. Everybody's a little bit different.
That's probably one whole area.
That's beautiful.
There we go.
So there's a price distribution. So, people are looking at different price points where houses sit, and price points, do monthly, yearly, and then by county, city, area code, zip code, etc. So you've got a lot of different types of information here, a lot of different types of graphs. And you can use this, embedded into your website. You can put this on your mailings.
Yep, they've got this button down here. So there are multiple features here to embed this into your website. And it's the first 3 options that you have available to you. These are the 3 that you can embed into your website. And it allows it to be interactive for the customers as well. So you could also use these links, set up a landing page, have this embedded on that landing page, and maybe put that on your postcards or your mailers.
Yeah.
And the last one would be pricing insights. I don't know that that's something you would use on your postcards. This is for something if you're sitting down with your clients. It is a something you're going to work through with them, whether it's a buyer trying to decide what they're going to offer on a home, or a seller trying to decide what their house is worth in comparison to everything else. You would enter in, and we'll do CC44 again. You would enter in the parameters that match the home that you're talking about. We'll keep active, closed, and pending on here. We'll add in the surrounding ones so that we have a few more options here, and then we'll bump this up to the last 6 months. So you add in your filters here, and then you can see here that we have a map that shows us a scatter plot of the pending, closed, and active data. You would enter in the proposed listing price and the square footage. So maybe this is the buyer trying to figure out where they're going to offer at and whether it's fair, or again, your seller trying to figure out where they want to list at. Based on what you've put in here, it will show up here. So the cross section shows where the average is between price and square footage and where you're landing. So you can see where you land amongst all of these data points, but also where you land based on the average of all of the data that's in here. And then it kind of also, for a different visual, will give you the speedometer to show you based on square footage or based on overall price in comparison to all of the data points that you've plugged in here.
Yeah, it's a really cool tool for
Very
either
interactive.
buyers or sellers. And again, something you can bring to the table, make yourself different when you're doing your buyer consultation for that buyer broker agreement, or if you're going to a listing. All this stuff is very mobile friendly. You can use it right here on an iPad and it comes up, it looks great. You can hand it to them and kind of show them this is where you're gonna price, but here's where you're gonna be.
Yeah, if you can continue to change this if they wanted to go, then you'll see that data point move. So this is the one that is proposed, and then the black one would be based on where the data is.
Correct. So, and the idea is to make those more intersecting. The closer you are intersecting, the better off you are. So,
absolutely.
All right, what do we have next?
So after that, I think just give a little plug for Cubicasa there to help out with maybe if you want to promote what tools you have as a listing agent when you're farming your market.
Yeah, so one of the things that I always think is important when you are doing a mailing, or you're having a conversation with somebody, if it's a listing appointment, is homes are sitting on the market in some areas longer than they have before. One of the things that consumers really want is a floor plan, right? They want to be able to see the layout of the house. So you've got a great platform here with Cubicasa. We brought this in about 2 months ago. You get the 2D for free. It takes you 5 minutes to do it. So you're not hiring somebody to do it, not spending a lot of money on it. It doesn't cost you anything to do it. It takes your time. But if you promise a floor plan with every single listing you do, this is how you would do it. So you go ahead and this is on your dashboard on your MLS. Hit Cubicasa, you download the app, you'll sign up, and you'll be able to do a 2D floor plan. I did one of the office that we're in. It turned out really, really well. But this is what they kind of look like, the 2Ds. It's a black and white floor plan without dimensions. I mean, that's what you're getting. Pretty simple floor plan. It takes not that long to get back. You upload it, it comes back. But this is another thing you can attach to your listing so that you want as many people to evaluate the house from the comfort of their house before they go out and look. And you don't want people wasting your time, right? So the people that would be showing up know the layout. You have your professional photography, right? You have all these different things. And when they show up for a listing, it's really a good showing. It's just not somebody kicking tires, wasting their time because they want to split floor plan and thought it was, and it's not, whatever. So just another good tool. And again, I think it sets you apart with listings. I know I've listed and sold a lot of houses outside the state of Florida. They were promising back then, which was before 2004, floor plans. I don't know how they got them done, but they did. But I remember I was the only house in the area in my neighborhood that was listed. We had 6 of them that had a floor plan that was attached to like the packet that they got when they walked in the door. So again, it's powerful. And there's upgrades to go from here. You can do 3D with furniture and colors. You can do some virtual staging. It's a lot of kinds of upgrades, but the basic thing you're getting is a floor plan. I think every listing should have a floor plan with it. Just for transparency of the consumer, and to make sure that it works for the consumer. You got the area you can upload it in the MLS as well. So,
yeah. And obviously, there are a lot of tools that we cover every single Monday. These are just a few of them that we believe will help increase your productivity, help you get organized, help you farm your markets. But I do suggest signing up regularly for our MLS Mondays. These are all of your tools that are available to you on the MLS. This is our dashboard. And we do try to cover every single one of them. And sometimes it's not just the 2 of us, thank goodness. Sometimes we bring in the vendors and let them cover it and give you a different perspective of it as well.
Yeah, exactly. So, are there any questions? I don't see any in the chat.
No questions today.
All right, excellent. So with that, appreciate you showing up today for MLS Monday. Be safe out there. Obviously, we have a tropical storm or our Hurricane Cat 3 in the Gulf of Mexico and Florida, pretty much the entire state's in the cone as we speak now. So be careful out there. Do your preparations. Be safe, and we'll Lord willing, we'll have another one next week, Monday, with electricity, if we have electricity, so, but stay tuned for that.
All right, thanks, guys.